Okay, one of the interesting things, sometimes people see this map and they're like, oh my goodness. Okay, which piece do you want to kill? It depends on what your data needs are. Some of it is very important depending on those pieces.
Wasn't jerky? You go with your water?
I'm good, I'll just go with water right now.
There's a new scam out. They phone you up on the phone and want you to buy software that helps you keep your computer from getting scammed.
And that's actually the
And
scam.
it's actually the scam.
Yep, yep.
And so ask them for a number and such that you can call them back after you've, checked on it. And,
Can't trust anybody anymore.
generally speaking, if it's a scam, they hang up.
Yep, yep.
It's
My
always-
rule with my dad is you don't talk to anyone unless you know who they are.
Yeah.
You don't give, because my mother had struggled with Alzheimer's, some dementia the last, and she got them in big trouble because people would call and start asking questions, and she was just nice. And or we went through a period of time where she couldn't answer the phone. We had to make sure that, which was hard for her. And if she got it was just terrible. We had to block numbers and everything because she was just kind and didn't protect herself or their assets, and it was scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Hey, what do you think we should know?
you know what? I don't even think we
Shannon,
should try to cram everything in. What would you like to know? Because basically every single thing that we've talked about, once you learn how the Adilas thought process goes, and then like, oh, it's probably some object, it's probably a one-dimensional relationship, and it's probably eventually going to have some dates and histories. Or probably maybe I'll add some photos, or maybe it'll create a cool relationship. If you can start thinking in those kind of ways, you'll be like, oh, I got the whole system. Like,
Okay, let me ask one
yep,
question.
yep.
And this, I could probably answer itself. So on this map, when you have the ideas and sharing, that's just where you're collecting. I mean, is that where you
Okay.
theoretically are thinking people can upload videos and stuff like that?
Okay,
or is
so,
that collaborative?
That's a good question. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that currently that is under construction, ideas and sharings. And it basically says, hey, guess what? Here's how, if you want to submit some ideas to Adilas, go ahead and do this. Here's what we charge for some of our custom stuff. Here's some of this. But basically the future home of this is almost to the level of forum, asking questions. Hey, I really like this. It's kind of just like communications, whether it's internal or external.
What about the my stuff?
No problem. So let's go home again, and you're talking my stuff. So if I click on this, what it does right now is it takes me to my personal profile page, okay? So along the top, I have my settings and defaults, which allows me to say, what is my default home page? Which location would I like to do? Which PO type, et cetera, which,
So you're setting
your personal setting. This has just barely been added, probably in the last couple months type thing, okay? This will end up growing considerably because of that once we get into the personal type settings. But you can, I'm going to hit back. Watch this. Okay, my history. What did I do today? If I click this, this will actually say, okay, Brandon today did 1 invoice, 5 expense things, 1 expense photo. He's done 9 things in the students and or customer. I can go look at any of these pieces and see what I did as far as what's being tracked. This is part of under what my stuff is. Okay. So let's go back. That's just one more of the pages. My login history. Why don't I click here? When did I come in and out, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? How long was I in for? Like what happens? Okay, this one was for 9 hours on 6/21. If I wanted to, I could even say, can you show me which IP address I actually came in and out from? Like, if you wanted to like, say you were worried about, like, okay, where's that person logging in from or something? It's just data. It's just more data. Okay.
Where does it show the IP address?
Right there. So this one here must be the Bridgerland IP address, 204.113. I'm just going to kind of hit back a couple times.
Well, it did. Wherever you just were.
I went into,
You're not going to do
I went into my login history. See that? Login history.
There's a little checkbox at the top that says, do you want to see the IP address?
Ah. And then what do you have to do it again?
Yep, it's a piece of cake. Basically, it does a normal search, and you just say, yes, show me the IP address, do the same search. So you want to talk retroactive? Watch this. What if I back this up the whole year to 2012 and see what I did in 2012? Okay. So this was in 2012. What if I wanted to go back even further? Like, I just wanted to show you, like, you can virtually go wherever you wanted to go. I don't want to do all of that. That's a ton of stuff. But
And you could narrow it and see.
okay,
Interesting.
so it looks to me like at some point we actually added the IP address between 2011 and 2012 because I don't even know. But I mean, just to kind of, the whole thing is evolving and changing and going. And but this is, oh, these were some long days, 11 and 10 and
Yeah.
whatever it was. But anyway, and I bet you if I go way back far, it probably didn't even have that because I know that we didn't even add this till a certain state, you know. Say I go clear back to 2008. I was easily using this thing at 2008, but we weren't even tracking your login history at that point. Everything has different things of its own life cycle, if you will, of how we've even integrated into the system.
I want, Shannon, what do you think we haven't seen that you think we'd be interested in?
My goodness, I love what you're choosing because I haven't seen everything. So,
I assumed you knew everything he does.
oh,
No?
We're talking programmer versus.
wow. We're talking little helper that comes along and doesn't know anything.
So how long
She's
you been
getting
involved
awesome.
with it?
She's getting awesome.
What?
How long have you been involved with it?
I've come to the trainings. That's
That's it?
about all.
So she
Yes.
probably has been playing just at the training level and then recording my notes
February.
since February-ish.
Well, you're doing great, Shannon.
So,
And you got your own little segment too, I saw on there.
yeah, the only time I work on it is here. I've submitted 10 invoices on my own outside of training, but other than that, I really learn it in training. So,
Well, I'm impressed. What
So
do you
there's
think,
so
Brandon?
much.
I know you're tired.
You
and
probably need to
my
see some
brain is
deposits.
getting heavy.
You probably need to see some deposits.
I'd like to see some deposit and, the banking stuff.
Sure.
Just preview that
Uh-huh.
because I see myself going in and playing with the banking and the deposits. And
Okay, so let's talk theory for just a second, okay?
Yeah.
If we're dealing with banks, you can see how it's very high. Think of cream rising to the top. You got your worker bees, your worker bees, your worker bees, and eventually things are going to rise up to the top. The reason the flex for this is the tippy top, it's almost like, you know how we said world and moon? Imagine like world and satellites rotating around the moon, but it's not really like a physical object. It can technically almost go anywhere. That's why it's way at the top, okay? So if we're going to deal with banks, ideally we have expense receipts. This is money going out, paying for things, okay? So we usually pay vendors, we pay users, we pay for payroll, we pay for reimbursements, REIs, we pay for splits, which are things that are done on account. We also pay for accounts payable and purchase order and stock units and floor plans. Okay, those are primarily the pieces. You can see why it's all kind of stacked on this side. Users and time cards and payroll, it kind of has to track through that way as well. That's the expense portion of it, okay? I'm going to clear that. Oops. Now we're going to do the deposit side. Now, if we're still dealing with banks and we want to talk deposits, we can deposit money directly, no problem. But where does the money really come from?
accounts payable, customers.
Usually from some outside source. Here's the normal flow, okay? A customer interacts with you and creates an invoice through a shopping cart, okay? They're actually pulling out of inventory or services or whatever, okay? Well, what happens is if they pay for the whole thing, we temporarily, until we create the deposit, hold it here. Very temporarily, okay? This is the next holding ground. Or if they short pay it, we for sure hold it here. That's like, well, that's a real receivable versus cash that I have in my drawer. But temporarily, they have never hit this deposit level yet, okay? Now, if I was going to do an ideal model, I would have the deposit piece right here close to invoices and accounts receivable and statements and all this kind of stuff right here, okay? But I wanted it close to be banks, and so you do technically have to do a little bit of walking, take all your money and you create a deposit, and then eventually it gets into the bank, which the bank technically could be an outside entity or multiple outside entities. Here's your process. A customer, a shopping cart, an invoice. I get a payment from an invoice. Those payments temporarily sit here. When I'm ready, I collect them all up together, stick them into a deposit, it hits the bank.
So you don't do any deposit unless the bank's involved.
Okay, so watch this. A deposit has to be tied to a bank. Okay, a deposit has to be tied to a bank. An expense receipt does not necessarily have to be tied to a bank. Okay, and what that does is it allows for some other flexibility between, like, even paying off things that are there and there, just depending on where you're doing things. But a deposit has to be tied to the bank. Okay. The other way that a deposit potentially does is through this. Okay, this is a special deposit thing. Okay, so for instance, say you have a thing called equity. I put $10,000 into my company. Whoa, that did not come through normal standards. That's special, so we treat it special. Okay, you actually have to have the admin permission in order to do this kind of transaction. Equity, or say you get a return from some sort of a customer or something like that. That's special monies that kind of come in from a vendor giving you a rebate, or like, it's kind of special, okay? The basic one is right down here. Invoices, gather it up, and eventually stick it into a deposit, stick it into the bank. That's the general. That's where we're going to start at, okay?
Okay.
The more you think about, this is another, one of the reps that we have out there, her name is Kelly. And I'm going to kind of quote her for just a second. What she said is, inside of Adilas, what you virtually do is you make an extension of yourself. Whatever you physically do, you just record it in the system, okay? If you physically do something and then you return to the system and expect it to know what you did, it has no clue. But if you think of it as just a physical extension, either before or after a while, all of a sudden you're physically doing just as if you were doing, okay? So we have tons and tons. I'm sitting here right now. If I come up to deposits, I currently have 0 deposits at all. I don't have anything. Deposits, all, nothing.
Yeah, we've done nothing.
Nothing, okay? However, we've had multiple days of training where we're slamming invoices in here and payments and all this kind of stuff. Watch this. We're going to go to the deposit homepage, and we're going to click on the little link, payments not yet deposited. I have 56 or $32,000 that are sitting in this little spot saying, man, I sure wish somebody would actually assign me to a deposit. But it's all our data. It's just sitting there, and it's kind of waiting for us to happen. So what we're going to do again, I'm going to go to the deposit homepage. We're going to create our first little deposit. Deposit. Okay, I named my bank Zions Bank. You can have multiple banks here, whatever you needed to do. What it does is it helps you assign it to that bank. Okay? When did this happen? Well, let's actually say, you know what, let's go to the first day of training and do our first day of training date, okay? See how I'm going to back this up just a little bit? I have no clue. Like, we're literally kind of in a playground. I'm going to say 0 right now, and I'm going to say first day of training. Okay, I know I have 50 some odd pieces that haven't been done, but we're going to filter that down so I'm only seeing
First day of training.
yeah, first day of training stuff. So watch this. We're going to say, add the deposit, piece of cake. So this is going to create what we call the main, which is the plate and the first cut. Okay, that's the main that's going to give it an ID number. It should be number 1 because nobody else has created one. Deposit number 1. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to say, hey, I want everything. Right here I have 56 worth of 32,000 with little check boxes. Okay, very easy. What I want to do is I want to kind of say, whoa, I got a whole bunch of old stuff. Let's go 625, tab 625. Okay. Research this value. Okay, I only have 22 to deal with now, okay? And I can look down here, I've got Amex and Visa and a bunch of cash and stuff like that. You know what, I want to filter this even more, like this is kind of crazy. I want to say, let's go cash. Search it. Okay, that's much easier. Now I only have 9 items to do. Select all, it's going to be $721, and I'm going to say, hey, that's just normal revenue. Now here, this little thing right here, this is almost the virtual chart of accounts on the deposit line item side. You can manipulate this clear to a 5-level deep type thing, okay? We're just going to leave it the default, which is normal revenue invoice sales. Anything that physically has an invoice number, what we do is we virtually will, okay, what I want to say is we want to defer. I'm going to use the word defer, okay? So if I just do a normal deposit and I don't have an invoice number, all of a sudden the code behind the scenes, like, whoa, 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 I have no clue what this came. I'm going to track it into the financials as $500. However, if I say, I'm going to do the deposit and it has an invoice number, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm already recording that revenue coming in through the invoice side, and I have tons more information. Instead of it just being $500, I could say it was this and 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 this, plus the discount, whatever. I have so much more. We play a law of deference there, okay? So what we did right here, I'm on the Add Edit page. I currently have deposit number 1. I have 9 items that pulled in all of my cash from that first day, okay? So at this point, I basically have my first one done. Okay, Madeline, I'm going to ask you right here. Does this look familiar to anything else you've seen?
Yes, it does. You need to edit your name.
Okay, and what would that make me do?
That will force you to match up your depositing with your invoice totals.
Okay, great. So if I hit Edit Deposit, I'm going to lose that little flag. I now get a printable version, and I still have all of my pieces here, okay?
Now again, remind me you got a lock all that at the top.
Okay.
If you lock all, that means you can't go back and edit.
Okay, I have admin, so I can still edit, okay? However, if somebody has a very, very basic permission, and we don't want them to touch things, we can manipulate all that kind of stuff.
Is that a procedure that you have people do, or is that something you don't necessarily?
Well, it used to be. It used to be. Like, I don't even personally lock anything, because guess what? Eventually, when the bank sees it, we started a new, watch this. We have a date right here, 6/25. Well, this little thing right here, this verified, when did the bank actually see this money? Like, I've recorded it in my system, but what if it's still sitting on my counter and the bank doesn't even know about it, and it's the weekend, okay? By the time I get this in, or by the time they actually see it, it might be 5 days later, who knows, you know, okay? So all of a sudden, you're going to start tracking these life cycles. So all I did was create a domain, added a whole bunch of line items that are actually clear out to the invoice level, okay, with all of the different customers. Here's the Jacob stove, okay, that particular invoice that you did, $17.68, that was cash. If I wanted to, I could actually see this entire transaction. That little teeny piece right there is actually connected to deposit 1. Watch this. If I go in even deeper into this invoice, I'm in the invoice, I just switched out of a deposit really quick, okay? By the way, it happens to be tied to deposit number 1 on the 25th. So, like, as you start doing your action behind the scenes, what we do in Adilas is we're like, oh, I imagine you probably want to know this. Oh, I imagine you probably want to know this. Like, we connect all the dots as many as we can, and if we don't, we can help you go through that. Watch this. I'm just going to back up a couple times. Printable invoice. I'm back to the deposits. Okay. I don't know if I answered your question. You were asking about this. It basically deals with permissions and what happens. What I do is if I have admin and eventually I see this and I verify it, so I'm doing bank reconciliation, when I verify it, what it does is it automatically locks it for me. Okay, so it's, if I needed to...
Banks hit, so that everything stays in balance, you make it so that it cannot be added.
Correct, correct. And so...
Well, wait a minute, verified doesn't mean the banks
okay, so
have
this...
acknowledged it yet, that's posted.
Okay, hang on. This is Adilas terminology. The date, when did it start? Okay, when did you say that it started? The verified date is when the bank sees it. The posted date could be 50 million years later, and it's an admin lock. Like, if I don't have the final post piece and I post it, guess what? I even just lock admin people out. Okay, so it's like sometimes posting in normal accounting terms means like it hit my general ledger, it hit my this or this. Okay, what we do is we go like this: start it, when did the bank see it, and then if you possibly want to, it's not even required. You could finally lock that sucker down even tighter. It's almost a virtual mini ice down date for anybody who has a lesser permission. Okay, so we have basic permission to start it, we have admin permission to verify it, and we have ultra admin permission to post it. It's kind of just a level of stacking. This might help you get an idea. See this little picture right here, these little dots? Imagine that each little block, each dot is a piece, okay? The person created the invoice, they got some payments, and they eventually tied it to a deposit. At that point, their permission ends, okay? It starts with life. The next person says, hey, guess what? I have an admin on the deposit. I can say that the bank actually saw it, okay? And then maybe there's ultra admin. This doesn't fit that particular thing, but I wanted to show you how we're locking stages that are below it according to permission. That's why there's so many different levels, okay?
So do you put yes in that field then?
You mean the verified?
The verified.
Okay, so if I have admin permission, I will have a link. I can do it on a one-by-one basis or in bulk. Say I have 2 windows open and
I know I don't have it, but where does it show it? Does it show it down under
It's up
the
at the top
Okay.
right.
running line towards the
so right here is where we're looking at, okay?
I am.
So verified, no. This right here said started. This means when did I say it started? Or when did I create it type thing, okay? When did the bank see it? These are the only required 2 fields. This other one, the posting, I wouldn't even recommend you do that unless you have a specific reason to, okay? It's just an extra step. Like it doesn't
So
play
you can take it off too.
it doesn't play anything into the financials. If you don't post it, I'm just looking at that verified date. Hey, am I still outstanding or does the bank see me yet? Because I need to know which side of that.
You've got a verified link, which means that you have the right, so at some point, if you're responsible for the bank reconciliation or you're watching your web accounts or whatever, once you see that clear, you verify
Okay, so
and it's done.
So correct. If I was going to do it on an individual basis, let's go back here just so you can kind of see where we're at. Deposit homepage, verified, no. Okay. If I knew that 721 had hit all by itself, I could go to any of these links right here and I can get to the verify. Okay. So say I hit edit and then I hit verify. I have to have the permission, and it's this simple. When did the bank see this? And I say, yes, they did see it, and it was 2 days later, okay? And I just hit verify. It's that simple. Okay, now what it does is look at this. We started it on the 25th, and the bank finally saw it on the 27th. We're already capturing a little bit of flow, okay? So if I were to do a balance sheet, guess what would happen? What's going on? Where's it at? Like kind of depending on, okay, it's already categorizing into the date columns of that type of stuff. Okay, so this is all the further I would go. If I had multiple deposits, which we're going to do some more of them, there's actually some bulk tools. And once again, you have to have the bulk process. But watch this. If I hit bulk verify, it says which bank. Let's go see which ones are outstanding, and then I can go through them in bulk. Yep, I got that one. It was at 427. Yep, that one was 428. Oh, this one, and this one are on 429. Update. I just rolled 5 of them through instead of individually going to each one. We have a bunch of bulk update. That's how you help reconcile your banks.
Right.
Okay?